Hello, and welcome to episode 127 of the Pos-cast with Rabbi Shmuel Posner, myself, Seth Hellman. Rabbi, how are we doing today?
Baruch Hashem, Gemar Chasima Taiva. On the first night of Rosh Hashanah, we say, Lashana Taiva Tikase V'Sechasem. You should be written for a good year. You should be written and sealed for a good year. Only the first night. After that, and the month before, you say, Ksiva V'Chasima Taiva, written and signed for a good year. But after the first night, you don't say that anymore. Because it says that tzaddikim, righteous people, get signed and sealed in the book of life right away. Right at the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. It's like, oh, fine, you pass, go. So if you're wishing somebody that you should be written in the book of life on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, it's like, I know you didn't get any yesterday. Maybe there's hope for you. So that's why we wish, we say, Gemar Chasima Taiva. Gemar means the completion of the sealing. Sealing, sealing. The sealing for a good new year. That's the line. In Boston today, it's raining. It's been raining since early this morning. And you say, oh man, it's so tough, get out. But it's Baruch Hashem. It did rain yesterday too, but not so heavy like today. It was more intermittent. And today it's raining, it's plaching since pretty much 7 o'clock. So even though the rain is a bother, the rain is a bracha too. I don't know if I ever told you this, but the Rebbe didn't use an umbrella. Did we speak about this once? I think we did.
We have to have. We might not have talked about it on the Pos-cast itself, but we've definitely talked about the use of an umbrella. Which it's also funny that you specify this, because I distinctly remember there being a time where I showed up to the Chabad house without a rain jacket and it was raining out. And not only did you scold me for not wearing a rain jacket, but when I left the Chabad house that day, you forced me to take your umbrella and use your umbrella. And I seem to remember it being like a hot pink umbrella.
I don't know if it was mine personally. It was in the Chabad house. I don't own an umbrella. That's not the thing I own. But I was looking out for you. So the thing with umbrellas is, as I told you, the Rebbe didn't use an umbrella. And he said, that's what I heard. He said, why would you want to separate yourself from the brachas that Hashem is giving you? Hashem is giving us rain. It's a blessing. We pray for rain. We need rain to survive. So why would you want to make a separation from yourself and the blessing from Hashem? Good answer would be not to get wet. So the Rebbe never used an umbrella. He had a coat, but he didn't have an umbrella. Rosh Hashanah. So first and foremost, I'm exhausted. Because our daughters were here for Rosh Hashanah, and they left. They had to be on the train by two on 5 o'clock and one in the airport for a 6 o'clock flight. So we said, okay, we're going to leave the house at 4:40, go to the train station, Back Bay, drop off the kids the train, they'll hang out there for 10, 15 minutes, then we'll go to the airport. And it was so dark, and it was raining, and I don't know, I shouldn't have been driving, but I was. I made it home, Baruch Hashem. Sometimes I drive and I figure, you're supposed to look out for other people. Sometimes I say, you know what, everybody else should look out for me today. So they do, but then they beep. I say, okay, you beep, I don't care. What are you beeping for? Because you want me to, because I did something bad? Because I'm out of your way now. It's not like I'm blocking you or getting in your way. It's done. I passed you. Whatever I did, I did. So now you're beeping because you're frustrated. Leave me alone with your frustrations. Leave me alone. I'm busy. I'm going somewhere. So here's the story. So every time there's a yontif, Lubavitchers are never calm. There's always something to do, right? Before Pesach, you want to make sure every Jew has shmura matzah. Before on Sukkot, you want to make sure as many Jews as possible eat in the Sukkah and make a bracha and esrei. On Rosh Hashanah, you want to blow the shofar for as many people as you can. So there's no rest. Like, oh, I'll just go to shul, daven, have a nice meal with my family, and take a leisurely walk somewhere. It doesn't work that way. You're always on call for the mission of the day. So the first day of Rosh Hashanah, we had made up with this girl who goes there. Her name is Noah. That she's like part of this Jewish group there. She's going to tell everybody, we're going to come there at 3:50 to blow shofar. Why 3:50? Because that's when class gets out. And I know that once at 3:50, I mean, there's other times, but this is the most convenient time after we finish davening and finish lunch. This would be a good time to be there. So Connie and I went there. We got there at 3:50, and there was like, I don't know, 10 or 15 people waiting for us. Blew shofar, gave them honey candies and fish. You know, fish, candy fish.
Oh, I thought you meant like an actual fish head.
No, we didn't give our fish heads. Oh, we could have chopped the heads off the fish. We gave them fish. Usually, Chani gives them out at Tashlich, but here they weren't going to Tashlich, so we talked about fish. Fish have eyes, but they don't have
ears.
No. Fish have eyes, but they don't have. I did this on Rosh Hashanah at the meal.
Eyelids?
Nobody knew. Yes. You got it. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Eyelids. Nobody at the table got it. I'm like, oh. And that reminds us of Hashem. His eyes are always open. He's watching out over us constantly. So, and also fish swimming in the water, and things that are concealed from the eye don't get the evil eye. That's why they multiply in such vast numbers, because there's no evil eye. Anyway, and then we hung out there, talking to some kids. These two kids, one of them was Jew. I don't know, that's why they're Jewish. A whole story. We start talking about Israel, like, because I didn't start, they started. I would never start a conversation about Israel with these college kids. And he says, "Are you a Zionist?" Like, oh man, what is Zionism? What does it mean? I don't know. Then he says, Israel's not. So I wanted to say, I'm close with the Jewish people. I didn't want to get involved in that stupid argument. Then he says, that Zionism is colonialism.
Oh,
what are you talking about, dude? You're saying United States. It was so stupid. He just kept on repeating this word like a buzzword. It was so frustrating because they're trying to explain to him that, France and England are calling Israel colonial. How do you say the word?
A colonist.
Colonizers.
Yeah.
That's the word. Colonizers. Who are they to talk? But his whole conversation was stupid because they weren't listening. They don't hear. They don't have the ability to say, maybe what I think is right is not right. I can learn something new. Anyway, so that was just frustrating. But meantime, while we're doing it, other kids came by and we blew shofar a couple more times. Then Chaim went to Tashlich, okay? Because we were separated we just went there and then we go straight to Tashlich. So, and we're both obviously tired, right? It's like 5 o'clock, now it's already 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and somebody was supposed to come here shofar 7 o'clock in the morning. So I was up at 6 o'clock to make sure I was downstairs by 7 o'clock. And did he show up? No. Somebody else was supposed to come at 8:30. Did they show up? Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. She came 8:30, blew shofar. She came mamish 8:30, blew shofar for her, and off she went. But the 7 o'clock guy didn't show up, which doesn't make a big difference. I wasn't going to sleep much later than 6 o'clock anyway. don't know how to do that. Anyway, so I'm just saying, that's why we're tired. So we usually do tashlich. We go down, we go Beacon Street to Mass Avenue, then left turn on Mass Avenue, and go down the ramp on the other side of Mass Ave. Not on the other side, on the Boston side, but you cross the street, and there's a ramp. You can go down this ramp, and you get right by the water. Okay, so we're going there. Chani says, as we walk, he says, we don't really have to go down. We could do it from the top of the bridge. How close? You have to be close to the water. You have to be by a body of water. It doesn't matter if you're 5 feet away or 50 feet high in the air. I said, yeah, we don't have to go down. And then when we got there, it's like 5 minutes before we got there. And we got there, we just automatically walked down. We didn't even speak about it. Like, didn't we just say we're not going to walk down? It was like so natural. That's what we did. We walked down, and we actually couldn't see the water that well because there's a lot of growth on the bank of the Charles. So I pointed like a space. I said, see, look through there. You can see the water. So we did tashlich, and then there's a bench there. So, of course, what did we do? We sat down on the bench after the tashlich. And we ate a fish. Not a fish, the candy fish.
Mm-hmm.
And not because I like them. I said, I want to make a bracha here. Because this famous story with the Baal Shem Tov who sent one of the Chassidim to a faraway place, not a far place. It was outside his town to go there, and he had to go there and he told him specific things to learn, Torah to learn, and then he should wash his hands down mincha, and he should drink. And it'll be hot. And it was a summer day, so it was very hot. He should take some water from the stream and make a bracha. And then the Baal Shem Tov told him after he came back, told him that there was a neshama there that needed to be elevated, and that's what he did. And this water was there since the first day of creation. No one ever made a bracha on the water, so make a bracha on the water. Anyway, so that shows you wherever you go, you do a mitzvah and bring holiness to the place. So if you're sitting in class, like if you're like in college, and you take a drink, you say a bracha, like wow, that may be the whole purpose. You spent 4 years going to school was to make a bracha one time in that place. It's a pretty expensive endeavor, but you don't know. You don't know. That's the whole point. You don't. If you don't know, do good, do more good. Like I was watching, I don't even know where I was watching it, but I'm watching it somewhere. This rabbi, who actually was one of my teachers in Morristown, so he wrote into the Rebbe that he went into a private audience. So when you go into a private audience to the Rebbe, you write a note to the Rebbe with all your questions. You hand it to the Rebbe, and then the Rebbe reads the note and answers the questions. And if there's anything else to discuss, there's a discussion. So he wrote into the Rebbe that he feels that he's getting feelings of arrogance. Like he learns Torah and he feels, like, oh, I'm so smart, da 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 da. So what should you do about it? So the Rebbe told him, just do more good. What are you sitting worrying about your arrogance? Learn more Torah, do more mitzvahs, just do more. And don't worry about it. No, don't even think about it. Don't even think about your arrogance. It's irrelevant. Which is amazing, because that's like, you think about how arrogant you are and you want to make yourself humble. So all you do is sit and think about yourself a whole day. It's not going to make you less arrogant by thinking about yourself. So the Rebbe said, that's not what the Rebbe said to him, but that's the way it is. So the Rebbe said to him, essentially, just keep on doing good stuff. Learn more Torah. That's the main thing. You're accomplishing good. You're feeling that you're arrogant from it. So what? You'll get over that at some point. But in the meantime, you're wasting time not doing good because you're worrying about what your motivation is. That's the point. So a poor man comes and he's hungry. I was driving this morning. It was after on the way back from the airport. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's very, very dark outside, and it's raining. And there's this woman standing like on the island. It was like taking a turn from Beacon onto Park Drive. A small island, like 5 feet, to separate the directions. And she's motioning to me, and I'm like, wow. And it's motion that she's hungry or something, and it's raining outside. And how many what are you trying to collect? What are you doing? And I was like, So I'm thinking to myself, because I'm at a red light, should I roll down the window and talk to her? And I was like, I'm afraid of this person. I think, why should you be afraid of a person who's standing outside asking for money or food or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. She's wearing like a jacket of some sort, and it's like it's not a raincoat or anything, and it's raining. How long has she been there? Like, what are you doing there, lady? And she wasn't, I don't know. I couldn't tell if she's young or she didn't look very young. She was very old. I didn't study her. I don't make eye contact with her even. I'm like, leave me alone. And finally, she stuck her head by the window. I just like, no, I don't have. It's crazy. Anyway, what does that have to do with anything? So back to the story. So we did tashlich, right? And then we were sitting on the bench and eating. Made a bracha on the candy fish, whatever it was, whatever you call it. And then finally said, "Okay, let's go." It's right by. There's like people run on the path there. So if you walk in there,
Yes,
like they go, excuse me. I'm like, excuse me, I'm so sorry. And there's a yellow line, you go two directional. So we stand up and we turn around to go back up the ramp, and there's a guy sitting there, like on a little ledge. He's sitting there. And he obviously looks like he just finished running because he's all verschwitzt, sweated up. So I think he said Shana Tova to us, or we said it to him. Either way, it was very clear that he's Jewish. So I said to him, did you hear the shofar today? Because when we were walking back from Berkeley, and anyway, if I go out on Rosh Hashanah, I always carry a shofar with me, a shofar. So he said, no, I didn't hear a shofar. So then I said to him, you go to school, where do you study? He said he studies in MIT. So I said to him, do you know Rabbi Menachem? Menachem Altein is the shliach there. He said, yeah, I study with him every Friday at 10, is it 10 or 10:15? He said that. He didn't know. Anyway, he studies them every day. So I said, and you didn't blow shofar? He said, no. And when I started my run, he was standing outside the MIT building, whichever building it was. And he said something to me, but I was running by, so I didn't really hear what he said. I said, you didn't hear the shofar when you started running. Now we got you at the end of your run, and you'll hear shofar. And I said to him, I want you to know, you have to give thanks to the Rebbe, because there's a shliach in MIT, you ran by him. So now we have to come and roll shofar for you. So it's all the Rebbe wanted you to hear shofar. So he made sure that now, of course, Hashem had to be part of it too. That's the HP. That's the divine providence. Or as I told you last week, the God incidents. Remember that coincidence? We said a Godcidence. Anyway, so I blew shofar for him. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. He was very happy to do it. He was able to read the brachas and all that. It's kind of weird to me why people don't hear, I don't know, maybe people don't know that it's really important to hear the shofar. It's not about it's a mitzvah, a kind of mitzvah. Yeah, I guess a mitzvah to eat and drink on Rosh Hashanah. But the mitzvah is shofar. So even it's not about going to shul. Even if you don't go to shul, going to shul is good. It's wonderful. It's very powerful to do that, and you should do it, especially in Rosh Hashanah. But if you actually talk about the mitzvah is shofar. In the Torah it says Yom Teruah, the day of hearing the blowing of the shofar. That's why we run around the streets trying to get people to hear the shofar being blown.
I'm trying to think back on it. Like, I don't know if it was ever that big. Like, it's possible that it was a big, emphasis on it when I was growing up and I just wasn't paying attention. But I just don't remember it being that much of a, I remember
right,
like
you didn't
going
grow
to
up in an
shul.
environment that mitzvah were important.
Apples and honey was important.
Honey was, exactly, honey. Apples and honey. In the honey, dip the apple, or however the song goes.
We didn't have that song.
He didn't. My grandson was singing it. Chani showed me a little video.
It's
He's like 2
different
years old.
cultures here, Rabbi.
He sings about the song about the apple and honey, and then he puts the piece of honey into. It's like, how old is she now? I have no idea. 6 months old, maybe. Puts a piece of apple and honey into her mouth. Maybe she's older. How old is she? It's not my business.
If she
Anyway,
was singing a song, I'd expect her to be
no, he
old.
was singing this song at 2 years old, and she is like, I don't know how old she is. She's young, younger than him, obviously. Probably less than a year. Regardless, anyway. So blew the shofar for him, and I thought it was fantastic. And that thing about the Rebbe. Yesterday, I was standing outside. Yesterday morning, waiting for the minion to come. Actually, we had 9 people. I sent Zev, said, go find somebody. So he walked to the corner. This white guy walks by, and he looks Jewish.
Oh, dear God.
He has a shickle beard. He has long curly hair. And I said to him, excuse me, are you Jewish? And he said, like the guy back there asked me already. And he said to me these words, I don't want to mess up your minion. Like, what? He said, my father's Jewish. Like he thought that like he would answer yes, and then he would mess up our minion. He said, but I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? Mess up our minion? So it means he knew that he doesn't count for the minion because his father's Jewish, but not his mother. So then I wanted to have a talk with him, and he starts telling me. He says there was a chief rabbi in Israel, and he said that even though normally we reject converts when they come, person wants to convert Judaism, we try to dissuade them at first. But if the father's Jewish, and he says, it's Zera Yisrael, he says those words, which literally means Jewish seed. And therefore, even though technically, halachically, absolutely not Jewish, it's just not Jewish, there's no two ways about it, but because there is some kind of element of Judaism in him, that you should not push him away, you should try to bring him close. And he knew this, like he had done a lot of research. So he knows how many guys when they say, are you Jewish? They say, my father's Jewish. They have no idea that they mess up a minion. They have no clue. They'll think you have to, like, sometimes apologize. I'm sorry, you're not Jewish. It goes by the mother and Judaism. This guy knew so much. So I said to him, so I started talking to him because we were waiting for the 10th guy anyway. I said to him, like, his mother is, I don't know, Catholic or whatever it is. And he was raised that way, but then as he grew older, he started thinking about his Jewish background, his identity. I said, "Look, only you can make that choice. You're going to have to decide if you want to, be Jewish or not. And if you do, you have to convert. If you convert, it's like a full court press. You got to get everything.
Is it
It's like what?
the
You got to do
same
Shabbos
process
every week, huh?
Is it the same process as someone who's just like completely disconnected, or is the only difference that they don't do the whole dissuading thing?
That's the only difference. There's no shortcut to converting.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Nothing. I told him you have to for a year you have to learn and get used to being what living Jewish is all about, and then, if you want to do it, you can go through the technical process of it. Whatever. I told him to read Herman Wouk's book. You know who Herman Wouk is? Wouk. He's a famous author. Nobody knows about him. We only know about him because he became a frum Jew. He was a frum Jew. I don't think he was a frum. He became a frum Jew, and he was close. He came to the Rebbe a few times. He was close to Chabad. So he wrote a book called "This Is My God," which is like a whole book about being Jewish, just living Jewishly. Anyways, that was that. I thought it was fascinating that he knew that he doesn't count for a minion. He doesn't mess up our minion. But I said, look, yeah, if you want to get more involved in Judaism, I'd love to learn with this guy because he's so on top of it. He knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. But whatever, it's his choice. So I left it in his hands. And that's the story. So now today's son Gedaliah. So Gedaliah was the governor of Israel after the Romans conquered Israel, after the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash. And then he had a buddy, I'm not sure what his name is, who killed him. Some say it actually happened on Rosh Hashanah. because the guards would check everybody for weapons. But he was a friend of Gedaliah, and he didn't check him, and he came in and he killed him for jealousy, for whatever reasons. And so the Romans got really upset that a Jew killed their appointed governor of Israel. And so they made it much worse for the Jews after that. So the lesson is, what's the lesson of it? The lesson is be nice to people. The lesson also is that you shouldn't be so accepting of everybody. If you think there might be a problem, sadly there are sometimes Jews that do not nice things. You say, because the Jew does it, it's good. No, especially when we see nowadays, it's I think a lot of ignorance. It's like these two kids that I met, they had trying to talk how Israel's not a colonizer. It was like talking to a wall. They aren't open to hearing it. And the Jews shouldn't be that way. They should be able to listen and hear what other people have to say. But the point is that sometimes you have a Jew who's like a traitor. And this guy was terrible. He Ramesh killed him. Be careful. Be wary of the people that you trust. But the other important thing is to do tshuva. These are the 10 days of tshuva, right? Between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are part of them. So, just to give a little Chani, I think read this in a book. She said like this. Guy comes to town and he wants to open a store. So whatever he's selling there, he decides, and he wants to know what should be an attractive sign that will get people to come to his store. So he looks around town and sees there's a store with a long line of people waiting to get in. What does it say on the sign of the door? It says grand opening. So everybody's coming to the grand opening. Oh, he figures on my sign for my store, I'm going to write grand opening. He keeps on walking a few more blocks. There's another long line of people trying to get into his store. And he gets close to the store and they have a sign also. You know what the sign says? Going out of business. A lot of people are also there. So he makes a sign. And nobody comes into his store. Finally, he asked somebody, why is nobody coming to my store? He said, because on your sign it says grand opening, going out of business. No, he finally broke a small smile there. So the point was, why did Chani tell this story? Because Rosh Hashanah is the grand opening of the new year. And then by the time it's over, you're already going out of business. All the inspiration, all the everything, it's all gone. I'm just going to go back to my old way of life. And that's why, even though we have that reason why Tzem Gedalia is a fast day because Gedalia was killed, but it's also part of the 10, the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are days of atonement. We say along Avinu Malkeinu, we say different prayers, we add. And that's really, think of it as one continuum. Rosh Hashanah is the start and Yom Kippur is the end. You have a week in between, a week of days in between. So we have to use these days to better ourselves and to make resolutions. Resolution means something that is attainable. It could be a small thing, like something in davening, you add something, or more careful when you're saying something. Not, people say, I'm going to make a major change. Not like a week later, I'm not going to do it. So we have to make small changes in our lives, more resolutions, and to keep them. So after the grand opening, we keep the store open for many, many weeks and months in good health and happiness. Everybody should have a wonderful New Year, Gemar Chasima Tova, and maybe we'll talk to you again before Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is on Wednesday night, Thursday, right?
I think. Fairly certain.
Yeah, Wednesday night, Thursday.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to talk. We'll see you again next week, probably on Tuesday.
Probably.
Anyway, till then, an easy fast if you listen to this during the fast day. And I don't understand why people come for show for the first day, they don't come the second day. Who are you to decide that the second day is not important? You're supposed to go the first, come the second day too. Come on.
I had this whole discussion with Rabbi Krinsky and Rabbi Gorelick yesterday.
Oh yeah, with Rabbi Gorelick, very nice.
Yeah. He's chazan at the Manchester Chabad house.
Chabad.
Yeah.
So
what
was the conversation?
Well, we were talking about how, like, when I was a kid, for the most part that I remember, we only took the first day of Rosh Hashanah off because there was kind of this usually, like I would go to shul on the first day and then go to school on the second day, and it was basically people just didn't give it as much weight because they were like, oh well, in Israel they only do one day, and the second day is only because the weird timing things they used to have
Right.
back in the day, so it really doesn't matter as much. Is kind of like what
Yeah. But
the
first of all, these
prevailing
people,
attitude
these
was.
people don't know that Rosh Hashanah is 2 days in Eretz Yisrael too. Little factoid, because the confusion with the calendar existed in Israel also, because it's the first day of the month. Yeah, but you're right. They don't take into account the second day. Oh well. So it was good there. Did Rabbi Garel speak or just
Yeah,
started?
he didn't. He spoke a little bit at lunch yesterday, but he didn't give like a full speech. Rabbi Krinsky gave a speech both days.
Right.
But yeah, we heard some cool stories. We were talking about Kedusha and Kesser, right? And the tunes that are used for Kedusha and Musaf. And he was talking about like how it came to be, and how there was a stretch where once a year, I want to say he was saying it was Simchas Torah, that for 10 years the Rebbe taught a new tune
So
every single year. And so he was telling us about the ridiculousness of the Farbringans, because he was sending, so the yeshiva buckers would have to go out to do hakafot out, wherever, and then they would come back, and then so the Farbringen didn't start until crazy late, and then the Rebbe would be teaching them. And so it was basically, he was telling us that for essentially 36 hours straight they were up, because by the time the Farbringen finished the first night, it was 9 o'clock, and then Chakra started at 10. And so they went straight in essentially to Chakras, because everyone wanted to do Hakafot with the Rebbe. So they did Hakafot with the Rebbe at like 4:30 in the morning.
it wasn't that late, but yeah, like 3 o'clock. So our brain would end like 12 or around maybe before then, and then our coffee would start like let's say 1 o'clock even. And go to 3 o'clock. Yeah, it's kind of. It's. I think about it now. It's like how did? Yeah, but that was normal because that's the way it was done. That's how the Rebbe did it.
Yeah, he,
And
he
then
also
after that, the Rebbe
mentioned
teaches the song.
you and him taking a trip, because you've mentioned this to me in the past, where the Chag would finish, and then the Rebbe would be doing a Farbringen, and then he'd be in line giving people wine
Mitzchak.
for, yeah. And so he was telling people, and I obviously had heard the story from you, but he was telling people about how you guys would drive from Boston at the end of Chag, and you would get to Crown Heights in time to still get wine, because he was still
Yeah,
passing everything out.
yeah, because it took 3-4 hours. Amazing, amazing. Okay, my dear friends, have a wonderful new year, and we should have the greatest blessings of all in health and happiness, parnasa, nachas, Mashiach now.
Amen. With that, thank you so much for listening to episode 127 of the Pos-cast with Rabbi Shmuel Posner. We will see you next week.